The Mostly Methodist Club was the product of a group of ladies who, except for Deborah, the ex-Marine, had never done a single adventurous thing. My mother, I suppose, was typical. The most romantic thing she ever accomplished in her life was to name me Sophia, with a long I, like a heroine in an old novel. After doing that, at age 19, she dropped out of college and spent the next 24 years as a housewife. Before that, nada. Not even marrying my dad. Especially not marrying my dad. That was another gesture for me, or rather, for the me shortly to arrive, the unfortunate result of a tussle with my future father in the back seat of a '61 Chevy Malibu. If you call that a romantic setting, you probably don't know much about Chevys. But I'm getting off the subject. I wasn't actually there for the first weeks of the Larksdale Ladies' Club, the weeks my mother always referred to as the time we spent finding our way, and which Skye Terrell far more frankly called 6 weeks of listening to know-nothing men shoot their mouths off. But my mom, bless her, was always a faithful letter writer who sent me summaries of every meeting. Besides, I was only in Chicago for my second year of law school, and my social life wasn't so exciting that I didn't find time to spend most holidays in Larksdale. I kept up with things. Trust me, this is how it happened. Gladys was late. Within a few minutes of 9 o'clock that Saturday morning, 6 of the other members of the Mostly Methodist Club had stepped across the threshold and into Martha Crittenden's elegant but fading foyer. Then they had stamped their feet against the outdoor cold, shown Martha their snack offerings, and hung their coats, which still smelled of summer mothballs, in the foyer closet. It was mid-October, maybe the loveliest time of the year in Minnesota, when the apples hang sweet and crisp on the trees, and the air is cool, clean, and invigorating. It turns cheeks red, not purplish blue. Halloween decorations appear, monster amusements in black and orange, except in those houses where Halloween is shunned as Satan's own holiday. Even in the most spiritually firm households, the mood is growing festive and fragrant after a humid summer of mosquitoes, heat, and television reruns. The Mostly Methodist Club met Saturday morning year-round, but was at its best in autumn and winter, when it helped steel the ladies for the Sundays their men spent watching TV sports with eyes glazed like so many holiday hams. This Saturday morning, the first in months when thin ice-covered car windows, the ladies bore plump droplets of what would become, over the next 10 weeks, a deluge of holiday baking. Just at the stroke of 9, my mom, Lizzie Peters, arrived, prompt as always and carrying a very healthy and sensible pumpkin loaf. Mom and Martha were polite with each other, not warm, and conversation might have lagged. After all, Martha, at 62, was a full generation older than my mother. Moreover, she came from a much wealthier, more upper-class background. Martha was Brooke Astor and the Ritz. My mom was strictly Betty Crocker. But Mom had no sooner hung up her coat than the doorbell rang and 3 coffee cakes appeared on the doorstep. That is, 3 members bearing coffee cakes. 1 cinnamon, 1 lemon, and 1 pecan crunch. Dolly Suckling bore the largest cake. Blonde, tall, and solid, Dolly had gone to high school with my mom, but then had made what everyone called an unfortunate marriage. Now she was a housewife, living in the bad part of town, and a part-time shopper for Dayton's in what she called the Portly Porkers division. Ever since I was a little girl, though, I'd imagined her singing opera with one of those hats with horns on her head and a spear in her hand. She was Valkyrie, large and impressive. Just stepping inside and handing Martha the overflowing pecan crunch platter, Dolly filled the foyer. After her came Deborah Cohen, who was the mostly in the Mostly Methodist Club. Deborah was also the lone exception to what I said about none of the ladies ever having had an adventure. At 22, Deborah had joined the Marines, just after they had declared they wanted women, but well before they had figured out what to do with them. In boot camp in some Carolina swamp,